Welcome CSE 103 to exercise 10. We're going to be using Python. We're going to be using the turtle module, and this is a tale of two turtles. We have Tommy and we have Timmy. Tommy is the green turtle, and he's going to make a green square. Timmy is the purple turtle, and he's going to make a purple square. And wait till you see this in action. I'm going to run this right now. Are you ready? There goes Tommy. And here comes Timmy. And look at that. It's beautiful. We're going to do that, and we're going to code it and make that happen. And then after we do this, we're going to do another exercise where we use a function and a loop, and that way we don't have to have all this repetitive code. Right now we're going to have a lot of repetitive code. This will help us learn a little bit about the Python turtle module and some of the commands, because it's a lot of commands. You're just telling this thing what to do, what to look like, what to do. So that's all we're going to do. Keep in mind, in this repel, as I call them, this will be a special Python turtle repel. It's going to have a console down here that we could still use, but we're not going to use it right now. But we're going to have this little area here that's a GUI. That's a graphical user interface. This is where we'll be able to see the turtles and see some graphical things going on instead of just seeing output in a console. So that'll make it a little bit more interesting. Just one thing to keep in mind is we're basically working, I guess, in roughly a 400 by 400 square. We can go further, but we're going to try to keep it within a 400 by 400 pixel square. And that means there's a 0, 0 point right about here. So this is kind of our origin in the middle. It'll be 0, 0. And going this way will be a negative numbers, going basically to negative 200. And going this way will be going to positive 200. And then going up will be going to positive 200, and going down we'll be going to negative 200. And again, we're starting in the middle, kind of like the grids we used in, if you got it right, in Tinkercad for 3D grid with 0, 0 in the middle. So that's what we'll be doing. So that's how we'll tell the turtle where to position, how far to go. So, you know, these boxes here, they're about 100 pixels. So 200 is going to be about here. So we can go further, but we're going to try to keep it basically in 200 in one direction, 200 in the other. We can go a little further if we need, but right now we're going to start with this. So that's all we're going to do. So what you're going to do is when you get into replit, now replit in 2022, spring 2022, may look like this when you first get here. And if you go over to the hamburger menu, this will bring down this little side menu here, and it still shows your home area. And you can go to My Repels. That way, if you scroll down here, you may see any folders that you created. If you created a CSE 103 folder from before, you may have that over here. You may not. But either way, you can click on this hamburger menu to kind of show that area or not. And you'll have a create button. In the past, it used to say new or something, new repel, but now it says create. So as long as you use this create button or this plus button over here, you can make a new repel. And we're going to make a Python with turtle repel. So I'm going to hit create. And you may have to search. If you don't see it here, you could scroll down and look for Python with turtle. You'll see Pygame and different kind of Python things. If you just type in Python, you'll eventually find Python with turtle. If you put a space and put a parentheses and put with, you'll find Python with turtle. That's what it should look like. It'll have with turtle in parentheses. So if you start typing it out, type Python and then parentheses, and then look for with, and then just click on that. So it has to be Python with turtle, not just Python. And over here, this is the generic name that comes up, and just call it 10-Python turtles. It could be all one word, doesn't really matter. And just put dash in your last name, first initial, something like that. So I'm putting mine here. So that's all you have to do. Just make sure it's Python turtle, and then just hit create repel. Now, once this launches in spring 2022, it'll look like this. It didn't used to look like this in the past with all this startup type here. But what you can do is even get rid of all this stuff. Leave import turtle. You're going to need that. But get rid of all these comments up here. You don't need this right now. And you can leave this t equals turtle.turtle because we're even going to use that. So let's just get rid of this. So if this comes up, just leave that there. And this is the way we want to instantiate our turtle, create an instance of the turtle, except we're going to call it Tommy. So I'm going to go here and call it Tommy because we're going to have a Tommy and a Timmy because that's the way I did it in the past. I'll leave it like that. Now, a couple other things before I get into it. Leave these packager files here. Don't worry about deleting them. They're fine here. This main.py, you're not going to change the name of this. In fact, you don't even really need to look at this. You could kind of click here and just kind of look at your code. Remember that this is your repel and this is your file main.py, and it has to be main.py, so don't change the name of this or you won't see it. This is your coding area here. This is your preview area, your GUI, meaning it's going to show little turtles and things like that. It won't just show code. Now, on your previous Python exercise, it just looked like this. You just had a shell. You could still have a shell to see error messages and things like that, but we don't really need to look at it that much right now. So I'm going to kind of move this down and go in between here. By the way, if I have a dark theme and you have a light theme, you can change that pretty easy. If you just go to your hamburger menu and you go down here and you hit light, that'll make a light theme. And if you like it dark theme, hit the moon, it'll make a dark theme. So I'm not sure what's going to work better for recording videos. In the past, I always did the light theme. So let me put on light theme for now and see how that goes. And then to get rid of this, just click here again and make that go away. So I could leave it on light theme for now. That's okay. And we have a run button up here. Some things have changed a little bit from the past, but that's okay for now. So this is our repel. This is our file. We don't have to mess with that. And I think that's all we need. I think I went over some of the other stuff in settings, such as tabs, indent size 4, soft wrap, code intelligence enabled. Hopefully that'll work out for us. And what you'll see down here is error messages, and you're going to see your turtle here. And I think the size, if you move this around, it looks different than it did in the past because now it has like a background when you move it. It used to be like 400 by 400, but I think it's a little bigger now. I think it might be like 560 by 300 or something, but don't worry about that. We're just going to kind of work from the middle right now. So we'll still have a 0 point right here. And I think it goes something like 280 this way, 280 that way to make like 560, and down it might go like just 200 and 200 up. So don't worry too much about that right now, about the size. We're just going to make our squares that are going to be 100 all around. So I'll close this up, meaning I'll just click here so I don't see that stuff. I'll click on that again, and I'll keep our window, our preview area as big as we can right now. And this instantiates a turtle, and if you want to put a comment, you could put a £, and just put instance of turtle. And you'll get these little messages coming up, hints and things like that. They may be annoying or they may help you. We'll see. So right now we'll just have instance of turtle and tommy.turtle. That's creating the turtle, and we're going to give it some characteristics or some properties. Now if you just run it right now, you're just going to see a little arrow there. That's the turtle. And we can give it a color, and we could give it a shape of turtle. So those will be some characteristics. So I'll just put properties. I'll put properties of the turtle. So that's just the looks of it. So I'll put properties. That's just a comment. You don't have to do that, but it's just explaining what's going on here. And now after we instantiated Tommy and turtle.turtle, now keep in mind, import turtle is lowercase. That's importing the turtle module. And then we're importing the turtle class, which is this turtle with a capital T and parentheses. So out of the turtle module comes the turtle class. So it's important that you have a small t and a capital T here and parentheses after here and a dot and an equals and all that. So do it exactly like that. And from now on, if Tommy's our instance, we're going to keep using Tommy dot. So I'm going to put Tommy dot, and we're going to give him a color. And we're just going to put color. And it's showing you here that there's a parenthesis, so you can click on that. That doesn't really do anything. And we're going to put parentheses here. And you could put a color in here. You could put RGB color, you could put hex color, or you could just use a color name. Now we're just going to use a color name, and I'll just put in green, but you have to put in quotes, so it has to be a string. So put quotes, and then type green. If you just did a green without quotes, it's going to think it's a variable. So we'll do that. And you can run it, and it's green, and it still just looks like an arrow. And then I'll do Tommy dot shape, and I'll do my parentheses, and I'll do turtle. Now there's different shapes for the turtle, there's different arrows, and there's a whole area where you can go and find these different shapes, and I'll show you that in a little while. But just for now, just give it a shape of turtle and use a string, just like we did for green. So put quotes around there. So that's a string. It just means it's words. It's not a variable. It's not a number or anything like that. So we'll just do tommy.shape turtle. And then if you run it, there's the turtle. And now what we're going to do is give it some methods. So I'm going to put methods here. And these are basically just commands that's going to tell it to do things. So we'll do tommy dot. And keep in mind when we're putting information in here, they're kind of like arguments that we're putting in here. So it's requiring something. So whenever you have parentheses, for the most part, they require something in there. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes you don't need something in there. But for these, if you put tommy.forward, we're going to make him move forward. And notice he's moving east by default. Let me click off of this. He's going to move that way by default. We're going to make him move forward 100 pixels. So we're going to do forward, put parentheses, and just put 100 in there. And you don't have to put px. It knows to move 100 units. Matter of fact, it's using units in this turtle module. And just run it and see if it goes. And there he goes. He's moving. And we could adjust the speed of this, but right now that speed is fine. We don't need it to go any slower. You could see him kind of moving there. He's moving pretty fast. We're going to make him go forward, and then what we have to do is we have to make him turn. And right now one of the commands we have is left. We could put tommy.left, and then we still have to put a degree in here. It's looking for angle. You see this thing's popping up. It's looking for angle. And in here I'm going to put 90. So he rotates 90 degrees going up. So we're going to make a square that goes up, over, and down. So he's going to have to rotate 90 degrees and then go 100 again. So we'll do that, and he should just turn. There he goes. He's turning. So now what we're going to do, you could probably just copy this and copy both of them and paste them. So they're going forward, left, and then run it, and you can see he's going to go forward, left. And he's actually going to need two more. So he's going to go forward, turn left, forward, turn left, forward, turn left, forward, turn left. So you can copy this whole thing again. There'll be 8 altogether because there's 4 forwards and 4 lefts. Left turns, I guess. So I'll copy that and paste it. So there's 8 of these altogether. And I'll run it. And there we go. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make him move down here. Now right now this is at 0, 0. This is 100. So his x is going to be at like 50. And his y is going to be like negative something, negative 20 or something. I forget what we used to use. I'm not looking at the instructions right now, but it might be like minus 25 or something. And we're also going to turn him, and we're also going to get rid of the line that draws down there. But first what we'll do is we'll fill it. So what we could do next is before and after all these kind of movements here, we can put Tommy dot begin fill. We have something called begin fill, and I'll hit return here, and I'll just restart to type it. Begin underscore, and you can see it's coming up here, and it puts it in there. It doesn't put the parentheses in there, but if I put a left parentheses, it puts the right. And I don't have to put in a color right now because if his color is green, it's going to use that color. So I'm going to put begin fill, and then after he's all done, I'm going to put end fill. So that's going to kind of surround these 8 methods that we have here. So we're going to do a begin fill and then an end fill. And that'll just finish off filling it. End, and it should come up here, end fill. And that's all we should need right now. So let's see what happens here. And that's good. Now what we want to do is we want to have them move down here. So we could look at the instructions. I'll look at these here just so I have the right numbers. But we're going to use tommy.goto, and it's going to be 50, which is half of the way over, and then he's going to go minus 25. So it's going to be the x, then the y, and that's a goto. And then we're going to have to get rid of his pen. We're going to use something called pen up. So we'll do that, and we'll just do one thing at a time here just to see how it works. So first thing we'll do is we'll do the goto. We'll do tommy.goto. And it uses an XY, so I'll just click on that and I'll put my left parentheses. And here it's saying X, float, Y, all this stuff. I don't know if this helps. We're just putting in 2 numbers is what we're doing. So we're going to go 50, which is going to have him go over here. And also I'm going to put a comma, and then I'll put minus 25. And then we can also turn him. We're going to make him turn and face up. So we'll do one more left. So he's turning left one more time facing up. So we'll do tommy.left. And there is a right, but in the beginning they have you use left just to get used to how to do that. So I'll just put 90 again. So that means degrees. So he should come down here and look up, but there should be a line there. So we'll have to get rid of that. Okay, and now he's looking up and there's that little line coming down, and what we're going to do before he goes to, so right here after the fill and before he goes to, we don't want him painting that line, because picture him, he has like a marker coming off his tail and he's painting a line, but we just want him to go there. So what I'll do is right after the end fill, I'll put tommy.pen up. It's just pen up, there's no underscore, and if you're doing it right, it should come up here, and you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to put any name in here. So far the only things we didn't have to put numbers in are for begin fill, end fill, which surround all the forward left things. And then pen up doesn't have anything either. It's just pen up. There's a pen down too. So if you want the pen down, you could put it pen down. So when we draw another one, we might have to put the pen down if we were using the same turtle. But for now, I think that looks okay. So let's see what happens here. And that's good. And that's all we really need to do right now. And we're going to make a second one. In part 2, we're going to make a second turtle. So we're going to create another instance called Timmy, and we're just going to change his coordinates a little bit. And what's going to change is where he starts. So instead of starting at 0, 0, we're going to have to make him go somewhere like down. He's going to have to go to like minus 25, maybe minus 50, and then minus 150 from there to kind of start down here, because we want him a certain distance away. We want him kind of further from here. Maybe not all the way. If it's minus 25, maybe like 5 more after here, so it's kind of close to it. But we'll figure that out. We could always change where he starts, because if he's overlapping, then you'll know it's overlapping. So we'll just have to add this up. So just remember there's 100 plus there's minus 25, and if you don't write it right on top of him, he'll have to go more than 125. So I think we do 150. I'll have to check my instructions for the second one that we do. Let's see what we do. Yeah, we do 150. So I'll look at the instructions when we do that in part 2. So I'll be back for part 2, and you don't have to save or anything. This is all saved. And part 2 we'll create our purple one to finish this up.